We do be back with more. Please be happy. In the last one, Aspen forgot about us, and I genuinely was like driving home from friends last night. That's where I went after we recorded the last few episodes, and I was just sitting there like, why did she forget about us, man? Why did they actually have to do that? That's so mean. It's still traumatizing. All right, it's still hurting me. It's been a full, well, not even a full day. It's been like 12 hours, and I'm still upset. That hurts my heart so bad. I love Aspen, and the fact that she was crying at just the idea of having forgotten someone, like, it was so sad. I can't believe that happened. But yeah. With that being said, let's just jump into it. I'm so scared. It's twice now that I've lost someone dear to me. Although Aspen is still alive and I see her every day, her loss feels even more painful than Jongin's. It's been a few days since Aspen lost her memories of me. She's been here like usual every day since then, and we both try to pretend that nothing ever happened. But everyone, including Juliet, knows that it'll never be the same. Whenever Aspen and I talk, I can tell. Whenever I mention something that she can't remember, it stings all over again. Even when she's sitting right beside me, Aspen seems further away than ever. I doubt she remembers what she said to me before leaving. She hasn't mentioned it at all, and so neither have I. Not needing to have that difficult conversation was a relief, but not nearly enough to make up for losing everything else. If I could pick one or the other, I'd choose the conversation over Aspen forgetting me every time. Sitting in the... Hang on, I'm sorry, I was trying to scoot in a little bit, my apologies. Just then I realized I'm like a little bit far away from the mic, so I was like, I should probably like scoot in just a little bit. I'm sitting in my usual spot next to where Aspen sits at breakfast, when my ears perk up at Juliet's approach. Although she can walk without making a sound, even better than I can, I've developed a sort of sixth sense for detecting her.
You're up early.
I don't know if I look up that. Why did I say I don't know? I don't look up from the cup of cold tea that my hands are wrapped around, although it's been at least an hour since I took a sip.
I think it's later than you imagine. Just past 8. Oops.
Oh, I didn't mean to click that. Oops, I must have lost track of time. That's what she said. Sorry. It's sometimes I accidentally double click with my feet. I sat down here after closing the library for the day, just intending to collect my thoughts for a couple minutes. I guess it turned out to be more than a couple. Taking a seat across from me, Juliet also has a cup of tea. Hers is still fresh. I'm doing so bad today. Hers is still fresh, warm and steaming.
It's understandable. You surely have a lot on your mind. Anything you'd like to talk about? You already know everything.
Yeah, how the freak do you... Like, I understand, like, what Juliet's saying, like, hey, do you want to talk? Like, let's work through this together. Like, what do you even say? Like, yeah, I'm sad that one of my only friends in the world, one of the only people I've ever opened up to, forgot everything about me. And it's like, oh, that's rough. That's rough, kid.
Not quite everything. How do you feel?
I stare into the mug, aware that Juliet's looking at me. For some reason, I don't have the strength to meet her eyes.
Sad. Even though I know I shouldn't be.
Why shouldn't you be sad? What?
Oh heavens, why ever would you think that? Because I knew this was gonna happen someday. Sooner or later. It just turned out to be sooner. What do you mean?
Shrugging, I finally look up. Worry creases Juliet's face, and so I stare at the wall just behind her. I don't want to see someone else feeling bad on my behalf right now.
I mean, it was always going to happen. Aspen was always going to forget me someday. There's no way I could see her every day for the rest of her life, right? That's the other thing, too. She's a human, so eventually she'll...
I trail off, not wanting to say the words out loud, and knowing that Juliet will get what I mean. Sure enough, she nods sadly.
She will.
Death used to be such a distant concept for me, just a boogeyman to be afraid of, not to worry about too much on a daily basis. Now it's become all too real. In the case of Zhang Yin, now when it comes to Aspen, it's hard to not think about how that will be her fate too someday. Even if she hadn't forgotten me, and no matter what I might have said in response to her confession, the eventual end would be the same. I can't help but picture Juliet's own pain and anguish at Cosette's grave, even all these years after she passed away.
So if it was gonna happen anyway, then what's the point? Why bother? I'm just going to get hurt again and again. Someday, even you will also...
Forever is just as difficult with someone else who's immortal, maybe even harder. No matter how many years may pass, it'll only take one day for everything to be undone.
Oh, Miho.
She reaches across the table and lays her hands on top of mine, still clutching tightly to my drink. Her fingers are soft and cool, but they look awkward against mine, like she doesn't know what to do with them. I don't know what to do with them either.
I wish I could tell you otherwise. But you're right that some kind of pain is inevitable when it comes to those we love. That's the trade-off for the joy they bring to us while they're with us. The pain exists because we had something to lose. Despite the heartache, I wouldn't trade my time with Cosette for anything.
It's different for me, though. Because I can lose the same person over and over. What about the next time Aspen forgets me? Or if there's a time after that? Maybe it's better to just...
I shake my head and cut myself off, because I know I really will start to cry if I go much further. Although Aspen and I have already been rebuilding our friendship, parts of me wonders if it's worth it. Do I really want to make myself go through it all again? I know the answer is yes, I'm already doing it, but it's tough to justify to myself. Sighing deeply, I unwrap my fingers from the cup, sliding my hands out from beneath Juliet's as well. I study her hands still on the table. Despite her age, her skin remains perfect and unblemished. All her scars must still be on the inside instead.
Thanks for listening to me. And sorry for being such a bummer. I'll be back to normal in a day or two.
There's no need to apologize. I can only imagine how you must feel. Take all the time that you need. You don't have to force yourself.
Yeah, I know. But thinking about it just makes me feel worse. Besides, Aspen and I are still friends. Or I guess, friends again. I can't change what happened, so I may as well just do the best I can now.
That's true. Still, don't ever hesitate if you need someone to talk to, or a shoulder to cry on.
Thanks. I do feel a bit better. I think I'm gonna call it a night, though.
Sleep well, Miho. I'll see you tomorrow.
I can tell... I'm sure she can tell that I don't entirely mean it when I say I feel better. She does me the courtesy of pretending.
Night.
In a backwards twist on the usual, I head upstairs to my room and leave Juliet behind in the kitchen. As I climb the stairs, I get a glimpse of her still seated at the dining table, across from the cup I forgot to put away. Somehow, it feels weird to see her there alone. In my room, I wrap my blanket around myself and lie down. It's earlier than I usually go to bed, but late enough that it's pretty dark outside. I'm sure I'll be able to fall asleep. Although the day is ending for me, it's just beginning for Juliet. I wonder what she'll do with it. Maybe she's still out at the table. Maybe she's still down at the table, sitting by herself. Isn't that lonely? Then again, I guess she's probably used to it. I'm still new to this whole loneliness thing, but she's pretty much an expert by now. That's kind of sad when I think about it. As I'm lying there, I hear the sounds of the front door opening and closing. Sitting up, I look out the window to see Juliet standing near the porch. Something flaps past my window, and I move closer to see a bat descending towards Juliet. At first, I assume it's one of her friends, the ones who hang in the corner of her study or get fed in the kitchen. But to my shock, the bat changes forms, soon becoming a tall man. What? It's too dark and far away for me to see or hear anything clearly, but I can tell they're having a conversation. I'm tempted to open my window, but I'm sure the noise would catch their attention. The two of them only talk for a couple minutes, and then the other vampire turns back into a bat. I quickly lie down and pretend to be asleep as he passes by just a couple seconds later. When I sit back up and peer outside again, Juliet's nowhere to be seen. Before long, I start to get tired and crawl under the covers for real. Although I listen for the sound of the front door again, I never hear it, and eventually I fall asleep. I can tell that this is going to be a depressing route. I can tell it's already going to be a wee bit sadder than Aspen's was, because with Aspen, like, chapter 4 started off so happy of, we're in love, we're dating, we're doing all these great things, and yeah, like, there were, like, sad parts to it. Like, this one's starting out heavy, man. Even though things have changed so much, the morning routine is more or less the same. The three of us chit-chat about our lives and about mundane things until we finish eating. After pushing her empty plate away, Aspen leans in.
So, Miho, there's something I've been thinking about. And I understand if this is something you wouldn't even want to consider. But have you ever thought about finding a way to stop your magic?
Juliet also turns to me, putting me on the spot.
Not that I can remember. That's like asking if you've thought about finding a way to stop your nose from working.
I see. I thought that might be the case.
I'm not sure if I've ever heard of such a thing either. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I was just thinking about the other day and about how dreadful it all was to go through. Of course, I don't want to speak for Miho. I know it's much more complicated than just that. But I thought I might bring up the idea, at least.
You've got a point. Not having to worry about people forgetting me would be a huge relief.
Right. I thought you might agree.
I look at Juliet, expecting her to give an opinion, but she doesn't offer one. It's true that life would be a lot easier without my magic. Well, half true. This life would be easier, but the life I used to lead, I couldn't have survived without it.
Well, it's purely hypothetical right now anyway. For all we know, it might be impossible. So no need to think about it too much.
It's worth thinking about, though.
The only two people who actually remember me are in this room right now. All the other people I've met here in Welly, I couldn't really call them my friends, as much as I've liked spending time with them. Every time we see each other is the first time as far as they're concerned. Maybe that wasn't so bad when I was still on the fence about whether I'd stay in town or not. But now that I've been here a while, long enough to build something worth missing, I wish I could make those connections into something more secure. Even if there's nothing I can do about my magic, I can at least try to figure out a way to maintain friendships with others, not just Juliet and Aspen. Also, the main reason I'm like still reading this, even though that was a terrible reading, I'm so at the point, I've talked about it a few times, of like, I'm just gonna read it, even if I mess up, but it's like along the same lines. I'm just gonna finish the thought. But like this conversation still has like differences to it than the like original one in Aspen's route. So it's like I'm still gonna go through it, even if there are only like slight differences that I can tell.
It couldn't hurt to find out, right? It's not like I have to go through with it or anything if I don't want to.
Exactly. Simply being informed is never a bad idea.
So, does that mean you have an idea?
Well, not quite. But I'd be happy to start doing some research on the topic. If we're going to find anything, it's likely to be in a book. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's reading.
Good luck with that. Let me know what I can do to help.
I'd be glad to lend a hand as well. Perhaps I could find someone who'd be knowledgeable about Gumiho. Myth and folklore are often at odds with reality.
I'm starting to think that most of this conversation is going to be the same.
What's true and what isn't.
Someone who'd know about Gumiho, huh?
Ah, Silver. One person comes to mind. I'm gonna start Shiri. I started calling her Silver. Yeah. We've gone through this. We've gone through this.
Off to bed?
Not yet, actually. It's somewhat related to what we were just talking.
Oh, no, I don't mind.
Oh, maybe. Hang on, wait.
For me? What is it?
Oh, is it the cell phone?
I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
it's the cell phone. It's the cell phone. We know where this is going.
There's no particular case.
Okay. Oh. It's the same as Aspen's.
What a coincidence.
Okay.
Right.
that's like, so I was just thinking about this, like, what a weird talent
Thank
to be able to write a
There's nothing else,
scene
as you have more
that fits
big
into like both
plans.
these contexts so well.
That's a good.
I can't believe I never thought to ask.
Neither
Of,
Aspen nor I would want to gamble
like
our
both
money
routes.
right
Like
in
it
mine.
like,
I'm not sure who to ask. It's a harmless trial.
Someone willing to try something.
yeah, like this fits so well in both contexts of like
Right, Lena's
them
she's
dating
really
Aspen and
thinking
Miho, and then
would you
also
like to come-
Aspen having forgotten her. Like it's a scene that works either way. And so I was like, when we were sort of going into it, I was like, that'd be so weird. But then like as I'm like reading it, as we're like skipping through, I'm like, okay, wait, but like all of this still makes sense though for like the context of what's happening. So yeah, now we're just gonna just do 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 do. I will say it's a little harder to like skip through things with the foot pedals than than with a mouse.
What you mean?
I would have thought
So,
you'd be not surprised.
But like the skipping through would be like the hardest part on me because it's like so much repeated motions and like the same things. So I'm like, I should probably not do that. So let's just like skippity dippity on through this again. So like this is definitely gonna be shorter than Aspen's route, definitely.
I think.
Which isn't like like a bad thing. Like I guess it's just like, in a way, I didn't mean to pull that up. Hang on. How do I?
Sure where it
There we go. Like obviously it's like sad because it's like, oh, we're gonna get to like the end faster, but it also means like this is just gonna be pure concentrated Juliet, which is like not a bad thing at all. Especially after again, like I really like her character, wasn't involved too much in the last route, so like since this is mostly gonna be, we can just kind of like I don't want to say it's like in between stuff because like it's still stuff that I really enjoyed, like this stuff right here, super not in between stuff, super pivotal to the story. We've already gone through it, so we can just get back to newer content. You know what I mean? Does any of that make sense? Did any of what I just explained make sense? I feel like it makes sense in my brain, but I can't explain it too well right now. Also, yeah, no, this is super duper a leg exercise when I'm trying to just spam through it. It's so funny. Okay, okay, okay. It's almost bedtime with my fine. Oh, right. That's just the Lena call. Boop, 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 boop. Although the stuff with the kids will probably be different though, right?
It's alright.
Because a bit of that is them going to like the Bell House and be like, you guys are dating? Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. So like I could imagine like the stuff with like this and then the play. The play would probably be like relatively similar to like, or at least like almost exactly the same. And there's all this stuff. The Tommy stuff's probably gonna be the same. But the stuff with the kids has got to be at least like a little different because they interact so much with Aspen. I guess there's only like one scene where like it actually like comes up that they're dating. I think. I don't know. So would it just be like that one that's different? I don't know. That's weird to think about. Hang on, I need some Water's delicioso.
So
Oh
I
my
started
gosh.
doing some research on Gumiho. I found plenty of information that I thought was interesting, but I'm not sure how much of it will be useful.
Okay.
Hey, that does sound just like me.
Don't say that.
Oh, we've already gone through this. Yeah, we've already gone through this scene. I laughed at that joke and then I was like, I've definitely
I'm not, of course.
laughed at that joke before.
Read a lot.
So we're still just a going.
Pardon?
Boop boop boo doo 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 doo.
Oh, I see.
Maybe like everything about, I don't know. You can't just have like everything be about it be the same, but just sub out Aspen for Juliet because they're different characters. So like even if like the through line is the same, like all of the dialogue would be different, assumedly, or at least like Juliet's part would be different, and like the responses to like the kids and stuff. So I'm very curious about stuff. Like honestly, the kid stuff is the stuff that I'm most interested in now to see the differences in the routes. Just because like there's no way it's gonna be exactly the same. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for that. Because like the stuff with Silver is gonna be the same, Gerby and Tommy's gonna be the same. So
That's great. Yeah.
do 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 do. Now playing Time Pat. Oh, wait, I have the. I've listened to the entirety of the Please Be Happy soundtrack, and I've never heard that. That was weird. Okay, but I liked it. It was very good. I liked that a lot. It was just like caught me off guard, like, new music? Like, yeah, it's only like a few notes, but like still, it was good. Although Juliet doesn't reply to my text when I get back to the library, she's waiting with a big smile on her face.
Welcome back. I saw your message, but thought I would wait to congratulate you in person.
Thanks. I'm still processing it myself, you know.
I grab one of the spare chairs from close by and then join her behind the desk, taking a seat.
Even though it's such a big deal for me, it was pretty normal for everyone else. Or at least, it should have been.
I slide the phone out of my pocket and hold it in my hand carefully, staring at the polished glass screen.
That doesn't make it any less special. Change doesn't happen all at once. You should enjoy these little moments along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure she's thinking about Aspen too, but bringing that up would just be bringing down the mood. Instead, I try to do what Juliet suggests. Let myself focus on the good things. This means from now on. Wait. Let myself focus on the good things this means from now on. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a weird sentence.
You're right.
The little piece of technology that I'm holding is just the first step into a new world of possibilities.
No more being forgotten. At least, by the people that matter.
As long as they have a phone too, at least. I know enough about phones and how unreliable they can be to know... I know enough about phones and how unreliable they can be to know that isn't a perfect solution.
I still want to know more about my magic and how it works, though.
Imagine she goes to try and call, like, Aspen something like 3 years down the line, but her phone hits her with a surprise update out of nowhere and just completely ruins it. That'd be the saddest thing ever. I say that as if she couldn't just, like, walk downstairs and be like, hey, Julia, can I use your phone really quick? You know? Like, whatever. Although, does Juliet have, like, a smartphone, or is it, like, a flip phone? I don't remember.
I'm not sure I want to just get rid of it, like Aspen suggested.
I understand. As a human, I think it's hard for her to grasp what that would be like. There's certainly merit to learning about it, though, as you say.
It's kind of funny that now machines can do a lot of stuff that only magic could do before. Like, flying. I used to be so jealous of Fable who could fly.
I know quite what you mean. Why, sometimes I feel as if the rest of the world has passed me by with some of its changes.
Really? I don't think so. I mean, you know how to use a phone and a computer and all those things. Seems like you're keeping up to me.
Perhaps. I still prefer to write something by hand, or have a conversation face-to-face when possible, though. Maybe that's just what it is to get old.
You're not getting old. At least, I don't think so. I don't feel old, and we've been alive for almost the same amount of time.
I certainly do feel younger when you're around too. You remind me to enjoy the moment more often.
Aww.
That's what I'm here for. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's not thinking about the future.
Making Juliet laugh makes me smile, because it's something she doesn't do very often. When it happens, it's like a rare treat. Without Juliet, none of the good things of my life would be possible. She's the one who gave me a place to stay, a way to take care of myself, and now she's given me a way to be remembered. Aww. All of that for free, too. I know she says I don't owe her anything, but the least I can do is try to make her smile when possible. Even that doesn't feel like it's enough. It's a start, though, as she's always fond of saying, just like the phone is a start, too. Juliet's laugh turns into a yawn. Although she tries to hide it with the back of her hand, I leap up from where I've been sitting.
I can take over from here, so you can go to bed. Thanks for covering for me while I was out.
It was my pleasure. It's nice to be behind the counter again every once in a while, and to see our guest in person.
Now that I think about it, she does sleep through the busiest hours every day, so she never really gets to see anyone enjoying this place. She's worked so hard to put together.
Do you know most of them?
I recognize many, but it would be a stretch to say I know them. Their names, perhaps, or even their reading habits, but not much beyond that.
That's too bad. I'll bet most people don't know how hard you work on the library. even though they come here all the time.
Oh, that's all right. I don't need the recognition, so long as the library itself is appreciated. Besides,
Oh, I
I
didn't.
guess that's true. But only so you can help people in other ways. Besides, you did my job for way longer than I have.
Juliet said, besides, you work harder for it than I do nowadays. And that's what prompted Miho's response. I didn't mean to skip it. My foot just slipped. I've only been here a fraction of the time she has, but even I can remember some of our regulars. Although they occasionally ask about Juliet, it seems like they think of her more like a public service than a person. I can't pretend I don't understand why. It's like Juliet has two lives, the one she leads at night by herself, and the one she briefly shared with everyone else each day, and both of those are devoted to the people of Wellington. She rises, gazing around the room. It's still early enough that there aren't too many patrons around, but a handful are browsing or reading. Watching her look around, I can see a kind of sadness in her eyes, like when she told me about Cosette or talked with me about Aspen. It's not too different from how she normally looks, but I spend enough time with her that I can tell the difference. It instantly tempers some of my excitement from the new phone.
What's wrong?
Her focus snaps me and her face clears like I wasn't supposed to notice that.
nothing. I was simply reminiscing a little. I do feel rather tired, though. Good night, Miho.
With her trademark smile, she turns and starts to stride past me on her way to her room. As she passes by, I clear my throat. Juliet pauses.
Are you sure you're okay?
I look up as she's facing forward, eyes locked on the stairs. After a moment's hesitation, she starts walking again.
Good night, Miho.
Oh, stop lying. You can't tell us to be open and then close yourself off too. That's not how that works. I mean, that's what many people do, but stop it, Juliet. I don't try to stop her a second time, and I watch as she heads down the hall and then up the stairs. Nobody else seems to pay much attention. Just because we said that we'd be more open from now on doesn't mean she has to tell me everything. She still has plenty of secrets, that's for sure. I wish she'd let me try to help her, though. I wish she'd try to let me help her. I wish she'd let me. I'm doing so bad. I wish she'd let me try to help her, though, even if it's just listening. The way she can go from laughing to frowning in just a few seconds. I can't pretend that I don't relate. I wonder if one of those feelings is more honest than the other. If so, I can probably guess which one. Whatever it is that has her down, it's not something that I can worry about too much right now. I'll be here if she needs. Of course, but it's up to her to do that. For now, I'll just keep helping out the only way I know how. Click. I clicked it like 3 times. Pulling the morning stack of returns and requests, I get to work. Nice. Should we still do this stuff? I mean, I guess we probably should. I guess. Like, whatever. We'll just. I'm clicking already. I'm spamming the clicks. Just because I don't know if it'll, like, affect anything else. I don't really want it to be affected. You know what I mean? I don't want to change nothing. Also, is this shaking my desk? I don't know. I can't tell if it's like, I'm looking at my mic and I can't tell if my mic is actually shaking or if that's just my body shaking because I'm just pressing. Maybe I should just,
Hello?
There we go. Ooh, there we go. Getting through it so much faster now. I just have to position my hand in a slightly more unique position to be able to spam through without really using those muscles and contracting them in the ways that cause, like, the tension, you know? It's fine. It's fine.
As for don't mind, then I don't. This dog.
I wonder how much shorter this is actually going to be. Like, especially with me trying to go for, like, slightly longer episodes. I wonder if it's going to be, like, cut down by, like, 3-4 episodes, which is going to be weird. Like, it's like something I'm like is technically good for you guys, just so you can, like, see more of the story at one time. But, like, whatever. Also, I didn't log. After my late night encounter with Silver, I decided to sleep in a little bit longer than usual. I find that I'd be an Aspen to it. I need to move my mouse over. Because, like, you guys are really getting more, like, content in each episode. And so, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how much shorter it's going to be. It's one of those things that now that I'm thinking about, like, I'm going to get through this faster now if I do just slightly longer episodes. So I'm like, I'm scared. I'm just like, it's one of those things like we talked about in the last episode. Like, I was like, okay with it ending, but I'm like, I also don't want like to end too soon. You know what I mean? Granted, we still have so much left of this because chapter 4 is so long. So it's like we're fine. There are the usual 3 places set, but only Juliet occupies the table. I take my seat as
No,
well.
Aspen... I guess I can call her if I need to.
She sent me a message to say that she'll be here, but that she's running late this morning.
Right on cue, the front door opens and Aspen hurries inside, clutching some papers as well as her bag to her chest.
Hello, hello. Sorry I'm late.
It's no trouble.
We were just talking about you. You've got pretty good timing, huh?
Only sometimes. Speaking of which, I can't stay too long today, but there was something I wanted to talk to you both about in person.
What is it?
Let me catch my breath for a moment.
Aspen collapses into her seat, leaving her bundle of stuff on her lap. There's already a mug of coffee prepared for her by Juliet, which Aspen gulps down in a matter of seconds. Both Juliet and I watch in awed silence as Aspen scarfs down her meal in an equally short amount of time. I haven't touched my food at all yet. I'm not sure how she's supposed to catch her breath like this.
Did you forget to eat yesterday or something?
Shaking her head, Aspen shoves another piece of bread into her mouth, chewing and swallowing quickly. Finally, she puts down her utensils and sighs.
I'm in a bit of a hurry today.
I could tell.
Something tells me it's not on behalf of the Bell House.
No, not this time. The opposite, in a sense.
Oh?
I received this in the mail yesterday, after I got home from work.
She picks up the paper she brought with her and sets it on the table for us to see. It's a small envelope with a letter inside. Aspen slides the letter out and starts to read.
It says, "Dear Ms. Benoit, we appreciate your manuscript submission and commend you for your success in completing a
What?
novel."
In this route, is she gonna get like published already? Is that what's happening?
Unfortunately, we do not find
Oh.
that it fits the criteria we're currently searching for, and as such, must respectfully decline. Best wishes, Purple Penguin Publications.
Why is she so much happier about it in this one, or like more chill? It takes me a minute to actually comprehend what she's saying. With everything else that's been involved, with everything else that's been going on involving Aspen, I had forgotten all about her book.
Oh, Aspen. I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, it's all right. I wasn't expected to get accepted by everyone I sent it to. It's not the first notice I've received either. However, there are some revisions I'd already been thinking about making, and receiving this rejection notice inspired me to actually begin on them. I stayed up late last night making changes, which is why I was so late to arrive.
If and when I do find someone that will take it, I'm sure they'll be glad to know I've already begun making improvements. How many are you still waiting to hear back from?
I don't even remember, to be honest. I mailed it to at least a dozen publishing houses. Maybe even twice that.
Whoa, that's a lot. At least one of them has to say yes, right?
That's my hope as well. However, I'm going to need to spend a lot more time working on it than I have been. Now that there's a draft complete, I can see all the different areas I need to touch up. So I won't be able to come by for breakfast quite as often. Now that I can call Miho, I'll check in that way every morning. But I won't be here in person as much.
All 3 of us pause, taking in the significance of Aspen's words. With only a couple exceptions, she's been here for breakfast almost every day. I don't know why I struggle so much with exceptions. That I've been in Wellington. It never crossed my mind that she might stop doing that at some point.
You'll be missed, of course, but that's quite exciting to hear. I can't wait to be able to put a copy of your novel on the library's shelves.
Please, that's still a long, long way off. Picturing that has been a motivator for myself as well, though.
Will we still see you again?
Of course, I'm not dead, you know. Just busy.
Right.
I asked Regina if I might
Oh.
be able to reduce my hours at the Bell House some too. She wasn't thrilled, but she understood.
That hit a little. Look at Miho's face. That hit a little too close to home for her right now. She's not in the mood for that.
Dang it. Now how will I get free coffee?
You'll just have to pay like everyone else, I'm afraid. Or come by when I'm working. I'll still be there just as many days, but not for such long shifts.
Will you be coming to the library to write?
Occasionally, I'm sure. But it's easy to get distracted when I'm here. At home, I can just turn off my internet and get to work. That's what I tell myself I'll be doing, at least.
Never really quite works out that way, does it?
Unfortunately, I do need to run for now. Since I overslept, I had to ask Lena to open without me. I have to get there.
No wonder you were in
Ah.
such a rush.
I have to get there before she burns the whole place down. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to keep skipping things, but sometimes my leg just gets a little twitchy.
Indeed. There's only so much time in the day, after all. But I wanted to say all this in person, since it may be a while before we see each other again.
Aspen carefully returns the letter to the envelope and then tosses that into her bag as she stands up.
Thank you for breakfast. It was lovely, as always.
You're most welcome. I hope you'll be able to join us again soon.
Bye, Aspen. Good luck.
Thank you. See you two later.
I wave goodbye until Aspen's out of the library, with the door shut behind her. I wave goodbye until Aspen's out of the library, with the door shut behind her. When I turn back to face Juliet, she's staring ponderously in the same direction.
You think she'll be okay?
I'm surprised she's doing as well as she is, all things considered. I had worried that receiving a rejection, which was nearly inevitable, would break her spirit. But it seems to have done the opposite.
Yeah, it's having a very different effect than it did in her route, which is very odd.
Yeah.
Even though Aspen talks about how important her writing is to her all the time, it's something that I've always taken for granted about her. Just like how Juliet never leaves without her parasol, Aspen always has a pen and notebook with her. At some point, I got so used to seeing them that I stopped really noticing. Now, though, our whole routine will be different. Even though I know it's not a big deal and that I'll still see her every day, at least in a video call, it feels like the last part of my former friendship with Aspen is gone. Oh, that's sad. Don't think about it that way. Don't think about it that way. Just another reminder that everything changes, whether I want it to or not. Sitting there in silence with Juliet, I can't help but think about her sadness yesterday morning. Why did I change that? I can't help but think about her own sadness yesterday morning. Aspen isn't the only one who needs to be worried about.
Are you feeling any better today?
Even if she doesn't want to give me the details, I figure that it's safe to ask. Sure enough, she smiles at me.
I am, thank you. I'm sorry for leaving the way I did.
It's okay. I understand. You didn't hurt my feelings or anything, but I could tell you were hiding something. You don't have to tell me what it was, though.
She nods, looking at me intently like she's searching for something. After a couple seconds, I have to look away, unable to maintain eye contact for much longer.
Mia, could I ask you to keep a secret?
Oh?
From everyone, but especially from Aspen.
Why? What's going on? What is this?
Yeah.
As I say that, I can feel my throat tighten. What could she possibly want to tell me, and only me? Biting her lip, Juliet thinks about it if she really wants to say whatever it is. Finally, she looks away from me and instead gazes out the window, where the blinds cover most of the
I might
light.
be leaving soon.
What? What?
Oh, where are you going?
To the underworld, most likely. But
Oh, are we gonna actually learn more about the underworld?
I don't think I'd be coming back.
Why? No! Oh!
Oh.
That's all I can say? Oh? It's one of the last things I would have expected from her. The idea of Juliet not being here is as unconceivable as the sky not being here.
As I said, it's only a possibility right now. Hardly a commitment or a guarantee. It's simply something I've been contemplating.
Once the initial shock wears off, I fly to my feet, smacking the table as I
What
lean
about
forward.
Aspen, though? What about the library? What about everything?
What about me, I want to ask, but I don't.
Those are questions I've been pondering too. Someone else could take over the library in my stead. Most of the books and other items could remain here. Or perhaps this place could be reborn as something other than a library. It would be the decision of whoever came after me. As for Aspen, I'm sure she'd be sad at first, but she has her own life, and other things to fill it with. Her writing, her friends, her work.
Okay, yeah, sure, but you're like her best friend. She does have breakfast with you every day as opposed to anyone else. Like, that's not something that, like, not best friends do. You know what I mean?
Aspen's strong, as we've seen.
Why don't you want me to tell her?
My voice comes out as just a whisper.
I'll tell her when the time is right. There's no need to have it weighing on her mind when it may not even come to pass.
I slump back into my seat, staring at the ground. I still can't fully believe what I'm hearing. And yet, how could I not understand?
And as for you, Miho,
Slowly, I look back up, meeting her gaze only for her to glance away immediately.
I'm sorry. I'd stay in touch, of course. With you and with Aspen. Phones work in the underworld nowadays.
Oh, that's convenient to get cell reception in the underworld. Okay, nice, nice. Although she smiles as she says that, we both know it's a small consolation. She drops it almost immediately. To my own surprise, I manage to shake my head.
No, don't be sorry. I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but I do. What it's like to have to leave or be somewhere else. I know that feeling.
Gently, Juliet reaches across the table and the tips of her fingers barely touching my hand. The tips of her fingers barely touching my hand.
You always have a home here. With or without me. The library is yours if you want it.
Oh, that's so weird. I shake my head again. I know I don't want that. This library only exists because of Juliet. It's only home because of Juliet. Without her, it's just a building. Just 4 walls and a roof. It feels like those walls are closing in. I take a deep breath, pushing down the rising feeling inside of me.
You said your mind's not made up, right?
Yes. I have my reasons for leaving, but I have reasons to stay as well.
Okay. That just means I have to find a way to make you want to stay.
If I think of it as a task, as a problem to be solved, then it's easier. I can't act like it's yet. I can't act like it's already too late and let myself get overwhelmed with bad feelings. Juliet's jaw drops, but like always, she quickly regains her composure. I can't help but notice the way she struggles to find words at first.
I couldn't ask that for you. Besides, you and Aspen are already 2 of those reasons. The biggest 2, in fact.
What about the opposite? The ones that make you want to leave?
Those are more complicated. I'm sorry, Miho. I know how this must all come across to you. It's difficult for me to explain when I'm still sorting out my own feelings, though.
I mean, it's valid. You don't have to, like, fully understand your own feelings right now. It's just how you're feeling, you know, girl?
I'll tell you when I can.
We look across the table at each other. It's uncomfortable making eye contact like this, and a big part of me wants to look away. But also, I can feel there's something different about this moment. Like I'm really seeing Juliet, and I can tell that she's being as honest with me as she can. For maybe the first time ever, I can tell that this isn't easy for her either. Finally, I nod, staring at our linked hands. I really do understand.
I won't tell Aspen, like you asked.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean I won't try my best to make you want to stay either. Can you tell me one thing, though?
She hesitates, tensing up. I'll just ask.
Does it have anything to do with the other vampire who came here a few days ago?
Her shoulders relax and her lips curve just barely upwards.
I should have known you saw him.
Sorry. I wasn't trying to. He flew right past my window, though.
It's fine. It's not a secret. That was Ezekiel, a vampire much older and wiser than I.
Ezekiel. That's a good name. I like that name a lot. Wait,
Prefers to
I
keep his
went to
own
click with my
company,
mouse.
which is why you haven't met him. Very few people have. To answer your question, somewhat. We first met in the underworld, but he also came to the overworld before I did. When I first arrived here, he was the one who offered me guidance and advice. He even helped me get here in the first place. Now, many years later, he too is preparing to return home. For a long, well-deserved rest. When I heard of his intentions, it planted the seeds of that in my mind. Or rather, helped it take root. It had already been on my mind.
I see.
It makes sense that she'd know other vampires, even if I never see them myself. I wonder what he must be like for Juliet to call him wise. Juliet leans back in her chair, retracting her hand with a sigh.
Thank you for hearing me out. Will you be okay, Miho?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just surprised is all.
I know. I thought you would be, but... I didn't want to hide it from you any longer.
Thanks. I'm glad you told me. It makes the other stuff make sense too.
The quiet sadness when she looks around, the way she talks about the library. In her heart, she's already said goodbye, hasn't she? We both stand up, ready to go our separate ways. Although I feel shaken by our conversation, I'm also relieved to understand her a little more. It's better than just wondering. With one final smile, Juliet passes me
Good
by.
night, Miho.
Night.
I slowly make my way to the front desk and sit down, getting started on autopilot. Making Juliet want to stay will be hard, especially on my own. And is it even fair for me to try? She never pressured me to stay here. She just gave me reasons to want to. I think that's the important part. They have to be her reasons, not mine. Look at Miho just being an S-tier friend like always. Trying is all I can do. If it's not enough, then it's not enough. Either way, there's one thing that I know for sure. I need to make every minute that I can spend with her count. Heck yeah. And with that all being said, we're going to end that one here. This one went a little long. That's totally fine, though. It's a lot of good, juicy, important stuff. But yeah, with all that being said, I'll see all you beautiful peeps in the next one. Bye-bye.